that as you meditate to that stage, there's many other uses for it? Okay, you're commenting about the benefits of such meditation, saying, if I can remember correctly, from the silver mind control, you get many other benefits, many goodness, which comes from that. And that's very, very true, which is why at all stages of meditation, even just not such refined stages of the meditation, you find you're kinder, more peaceful, more happy, more generous, even more successful people. So, the meditation which you learn is wonderful at all things which you do in life. But I think maybe, I'm not quite sure, but do you have to pay for silver mind control? So the only difference is here it's for free. Because no one makes money out of it. But it's even deeper. The Buddha was there a long time before the fellow who invented silver mind control. And this is a well-worn path. People have been doing this for 2,500 years. We know all of the problems, all the difficulties, and also all of the benefits. I've only mentioned a few of the benefits for you, just like, actually going to mention the real benefits tomorrow. Enlightenment benefits. Wisdom, insight benefits. But quite naturally, look, the first time I got into a deep meditation, I just wanted to get to my teacher's feet and just kiss them all over, literally. Because if you may remember, those of you who had any deep experiences know what it's like, incredible gratitude and compassion for those people who have given you such a gift. And if you want to do loving kindness meditation, which we're doing in the morning, if you do it after a jhana, you zap them. And my goodness, they feel it. You've got power. So if you want to really heal somebody, do healing. It's amazing what you can do with these deep meditations. But of course, the main thing you do is teach people wisdom. Teach people to let go of suffering. And you don't need anything in the world. You've got so much happiness. You could actually give so much more. You've got the energy to give. And how on earth can you get angry and upset and jealous and fearful? No way that those things can come up. So there's many, many benefits. You do become a really good person. You really become a kind person. The more selfless you are, the kinder you become. Yes? Questions? I hope I answered that question. If I didn't, please come up to the microphone afterwards.
Ajahn Brahm. I have two questions here from a yogi. First one, you were saying Buddhism is about happiness and compassion. I agree very much with you, but why are there monks who are very stern and have serious looks? Don't you think this will frighten the lay devotees in this compassion? Thank you.
Okay, why are some monks really stern? I think sometimes they're like these chocolates. They're hard on the outside, but they've got a very soft center.
Right. Second question. There, Ajahn. Please explain the differences between Pure Land and Nibbana.
Okay.
Why do my Hayanese devotees always pray to get into Pure Land when there's a place called Nibbana, no rebirth?
Okay, as I understand Pure Land Buddhism, that Pure Land is like a halfway house between this world and Nibbana. So going to the Pure Land is not going to Nibbana, it's on the way. So if you want to take the shortcut, in other words, go straight to Nibbana, this is the way. This is the shortcut to Nibbana. Okay, please come to the microphone, you've got a question.
Ajahn Brahm,
Yeah?
in this book of Jhana, there's one...
Could you go closer to the microphone?
There's one line stated that Piti Sukha doesn't arise. It must be because there is not enough contentment. That is, then you highlighted, one is still trying too much. What do you mean? Can you explain, please?
Okay, trying too much. Remember, these are states of stillness. those jhanas are so still, you can't move. It's impossible to move in the jhanas. That's why you just can't come out. You're frozen. I mean, frozen solid. There's no movement possible, like a mountain. Even a mountain can tremble with an earthquake, but in meditation you can't. So you can understand that stillness can't be achieved by doing something. Now, when you understand that, it's all about letting go, stopping doing things. Too much doing, too much striving moves you too much. So every stage of this meditation is actually letting go of that which makes you move, finding the cause of the vibrations which stop you being still. And you discover an amazing insight. The more still you are, the more happy you are. In one of the Jatikas, the Buddha said, the more you abandon the five senses, the more you experience bliss. If you really want to experience total bliss, then abandon the five senses totally. Saying of the Buddha, the more you let go of the five senses, the more you experience happiness. When you let go of the five senses completely, you experience complete happiness. Powerful statement. So you've got to let go. If you do things, those senses will never turn off. You know when you move the mouse on your computer, everything turns on. You've got to keep your mouse absolutely still, and then it turns off. That makes sense? I've only played around with the computer for about an hour or maybe a little bit longer, but I don't know too much about that. Is that accurate? Yeah, okay.
Is it related, in these sentences, is it related to your summary, first jhana or summary? Instead of in sequence, vitaka, vichara, then piti, sukha, ekatata. How can you do in the other way around? 1, 2, then 3. Instead, ekatata actually is the final one.
Okay, yeah. It doesn't matter. You've got five factors. They're all together. They're all aspects of one and the same thing. Like my cup. My cup has got size, it's got colour, it's got shape, it's got weight. But that's all aspects of the same cup. I can't take the size and sort of divide it from the colour and the shape and the weight. It's all aspects of the same thing. Like, you're a woman, you're Malaysian, you're dark-haired, you've got 2 legs. You can't take those aspects and just say woman. And what is a woman apart from a body? So these are aspects of the same thing. So the 5 factors of jhana are one. Seeing the one thing looked at from 5 different angles. So you actually know exactly that you've been there. Like, for example, like the Eiffel Tower. Have you been to Paris? It's tall, it's made of iron, wide at the bottom, thin at the top, or whatever else you describe it as. And when you give those descriptions, 3, 4, 5 different descriptions, you say, yeah, that's the Eiffel Tower. So you have 5 different angles of the first jhana. You say, that's what jhana is, the first jhana. Is that your question?
Actually, my question is that how come the ekagata you just put in the center instead of the final factors of
because
jhana?
I like putting it in the center because the one-pointedness is a central feature of that jhana. Who cares whether it's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as long as they're all there? Reorder them.
There's no meaning, no purpose.
I know meaning, it's just the way I describe them for convenience.
For convenience. Because
yeah.
I thought that because due to the ekagata, that's why it produced the piti sukha.
And not because of ekagata it produces a piti sukha, because you've let go of the body and the 5 senses. That's why. And I'll tell you what that means tomorrow, because that's a powerful understanding, a powerful insight. That the 5 senses and the body are suffering. You know that because when they're gone, you're blissed out. You know that bliss is because a whole heap of suffering has disappeared. Some people think only attachment to the body is suffering. Only attachment to senses is suffering. But that experience is so plain. No, the body is, even in its most happiest of places and situations, is suffering. I'll explain that tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, come on, question. Okay, he was not unconscious, he was in a coma. In a coma means you're not able to speak, you're not able to communicate outwards. But very often, and there was a perfect example, he was able to hear, see, feel everything which was going on. And more, also he had his will intact. He could do things inside with his mind, but he couldn't control his body. That link to his body had been cut off. Yeah, of course he was fed. He was fed, I think, just liquid foods. Yeah. Okay. Where is the mind, the consciousness, when the person is in jhanas? Now, it's not the right question, because you've heard me say this wonderful example, which I got from a friend, an old college friend whose child was in the first grade of school, and the teacher said, as an example to the class, what is the biggest thing in the world? One little child of 5-6-year-old said, my daddy is the biggest thing in the world. Those who had children, I can understand that. Another child said, no, an elephant is the biggest thing in the world, because it turned out they had recently been to the zoo. Another child said, no, a mountain is the biggest thing in the world. And the daughter of my old friend from college said, you're all wrong. The biggest thing in the world is my eye. This is a brilliant story. And the class stopped. Even the teacher didn't understand what she was talking about. Why do you say that? Said the teacher. And this little 5-year-old philosopher said, well, my eye can see her daddy. My eye can see an elephant and a mountain and much more. If all of that can fit into my eye must be the biggest thing in the world. Now, isn't that brilliant? But you can take that further. The mind can see everything your eye can see, and it can see imaginary things which you will never see in this real world. Your mind can hear sounds, real ones and imaginary. It can smell tastes. It can, it cannot smell taste. Smells. It can taste flavors. And it can know physical touches. You can feel physical touches, both imaginary and from your fantasies. But it can also know things. Everything which can be known can fit into your mind. So surely your mind must be the biggest thing in the world. It's not that your mind is in your body somewhere. It's not that your mind is in this room. It's not that this mind is in this earth. This earth is in your mind. The whole universe, past and future, all universes, all things are in your mind. If all that can fit into your mind, surely the mind is the biggest thing. The mind is the chief, the forerunner of all things, said the Buddha in the first verse of the famous Dhammapada. Now you know what he meant. So it's not that the mind goes anywhere. It's things disappear from the mind. The mind doesn't come out, just things reappear in the mind. No, you don't see. Okay, try that. Yes.
Okay, my name is Derek. Good evening to Ajahn Brahm.
Good evening.
Yes. I have actually 5 questions. Yeah, it keep on accumulating until I come to the place here. Okay, the first question is, now I actually practiced Vajrayana before I joined Theravada by someone introducing me to Theravada. And I took refuge under Vajrayana. So do I need to take refuge under Theravada school in order to practice?
Okay, you're talking about refuge. Whether you're part of Vajrayana or Theravada or Mahayana, Pure Land, you take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So that's all schools. So this is common to us all. And this is one of the wonderful things, that when you go to the heart of each of the great Buddhist traditions, you find we have so much in common. You don't need to actually to take refuge. You don't even need to change from being a Vajrayana to being a Theravada. There's no such thing as a Theravada. There's no such thing as a Vajrayana. There's a Buddhist. So just be a Buddhist, and that means you're free. If you see a really good teacher coming from the Vajrayana tradition, listen to them. If you see a good teacher coming from Zen, listen to them. A good Theravada teacher, listen to them. I don't know what food you like. Do you always eat Chinese food, or you sometimes eat Italian food? Western food?
Various.
Various, yeah, that's the way to do it. Whatever food tastes nice, go for it.
All right, thank you. The second question is regarding, I think, meditation and achieving contentment. How to achieve a more lasting contentment? I mean, we are working as a lay person, so sometimes we have times to practice meditations, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we have stress and confusions. But the contentment during the meditation is, how do we expand the contentment?
How do we expand the contentment? First of all, you have to know what contentment is. So we come to meditation retreats like this to know what we're talking about with contentment, to know what we're talking about by stillness, by peace. And you come to meditation retreats like this and you learn from experience, sometimes by making many, many, many mistakes, as each one of you have. And sometimes you make so many mistakes and so many meditations don't go well. But then when it goes right, you've learned a wonderful lesson. And it's worth it. Just one good meditation for the whole 9 days of the retreat is worth it, basically. Because you're learning what letting go is. You're learning what contentment is. How to be content. And by practicing, in this retreat, you go back there in the world. Once you've been on these musical retreats, where people who are gifted in playing the piano or the violin all get together with other people who are so gifted, and they really enhance their skills. They learn from each other, so they can go back into the world and they can play the piano at home and delight so many people. So you're learning about your mind. You're fine-tuning your mind here. And so when you go back outside, you'll be able to be so much at peace with the world, and you'll be able to give that peace to others. That's how we develop contentment.
Okay, my third question is regarding, Chinese do believe that if you have focused at one thing, you will be able to achieve that achievement. Yeah. And English saying is a tunnel, light at
the end of the tunnel.
Yes, at the end of the tunnel. So is that if you know what you achieve, and the path is actually smoother, then you go to a deviate path. How do I put it?
Yeah, I know that if you learn about one-pointedness, to actually do one thing at a time, you become very successful. I have to practice that myself. As many of you, have known me for a few years. When I'm giving a talk, I give that talk everything I've got. I'm completely one-pointed in giving the talk. I am not thinking about the meditation which I did beforehand, or the letter which I have to write afterwards. I really put everything on the task at hand. Now, when you actually have one-pointedness in what you're doing, it's amazing how much you can achieve. If ever you come and visit my monastery in Australia, most of those buildings I built myself.